Oh, this is a heavy one. Oh, it's a smelly one too. But look at all of this, right? Oh. Hi folks, and welcome back to the allotment. Whenever I mention composting on the channel, I get so many comments, and loads of the advice recently has been to go to a greengrocer's and ask for their discards. And we were at one the other day and I just so happened to ask, and they went, oh yeah, I've got loads I can give you. They were more than happy to just chuck a load out the back, and look at all this for the hot composter. I had a comment as well saying, JB, do you not compost at home? But I do, and there's always like a little food caddy in the bin in the kitchen. So that's first on the list for today's job. Although, I mean, that bag of sprouts is just crazy. And there's a few bits that were still good for eating, so I took a few bananas out and kept those. I am a bit of a human dustbin. I eat a lot of things that a lot of people would put in the bin. Not a fan of waste, and all of this isn't going to waste. It's going in the hot compost. So I'm just over the moon. One of those really little things. And unfortunately, there was a slight hitch. I picked this all up Monday night, loaded it into the back of the car, and then Tuesday was one of those chaos days where all your plans go a bit sideways, and got into the car this morning. Oh dear me, I'm really hoping that smell of sprouts leaves the car pretty quick, but it's all here now. So the first job for me is to process some of this stuff, because even though it's all kind of halfway gone, especially as it's been in the car for a little while, getting extra sweaty, it's still going to be a really good idea to chop all of this up for the hot composter. And actually, I sharpened all my tools the other day. That time where I forgot the camera and didn't know what to do with myself, I used that little tool sharpener that I showed in my Christmas present video. And it just, like, it's a pleasure to use all of my tools at the moment. When I was chopping up the plum trees, it was like going through butter with those freshly sharpened loppers. Absolutely loved it. So I'm going to get all this chopped up. Then we'll get it in the hot composter, and then there's loads of other stuff to get done today. I'm just going to do that thing where I go until I run out of energy, and there's no shortage of things to do because it's an allotment. You know, I think I actually finished chopping all this up about 5 minutes ago. I've just been carrying on, going more. It's really relaxing, and just been thinking a little bit about like the process of composting. You know, it seems like such a shame to have wasted all this food, and it's definitely one of my actual favourite things about the whole allotmenting and vegetable gardening process is making your own compost. And it's never something I've been particularly enthusiastic about or particularly good at, because I've just had the cold composting setups and it's all been very slow, and I've not actively sought composting material like this. You know, I've used it as a way to get rid of things that I don't need. I've really just used it as a bin. You know, my compost bins are a bin, but actually seeking out, you know, food waste like this, which you know is just going to go into landfill, and turning it into compost and getting all this stuff going with the HotBIN, paying extra attention to it. It's just really cool, you know. And I was thinking about how it just really sucks that Audrey, who lives over in America and is on our Potty Mouth live streams, you know, she's not, because they've got like homeowners associations and that kind of things, like they have rules about what you can do in your gardens, and she's not allowed to compost. They're not actually allowed to do this. So she's got some funky setups where she's doing it in the ground to do like underground worm farms and that kind of thing, which is quite cool, but that's a new thing. And up till now, she's not really been able to compost, which just seems like such a shame, because I love this stuff. It does give me that like nice warm feeling, knowing that all of this is going to go back into my garden. And you know, I've been looking at all this stuff like, oh yeah, look at that, look at all this. The weight of it, whoa, there's a good few kilos there, I tell you. So let's get this in the hot bin, shall we? I'm absolutely filthy. It's a bit rainy and drizzly today, so that kind of task in the tunnel is just perfect. Let's have a little look at how the bin's getting on with all the... I tell you what, it's so strange seeing the greenhouses completely empty now. Oh, that's really weird actually. I don't like it at all. Oh, it gives me the creeps, especially that one. You know, it's completely bare. Won't be long though, won't be long until they're full. Oh, let's have a look at the thermometer. where it's upside down. Maybe let me fix that. Okay, well, it's gone down because I just had to lift this out. It's a very strange setup. The thermometer goes into like a little bag in here that is full of some kind of, I guess, heat conductive material. I think this is like a vent for things to, oh, look at that. Yeah, this is just like a little air vent, I guess, but it's been so wet this winter that I've left that closed. Oh, I don't know if you can see the steam. I just lifted the lid and there's an absolute explosion. Oh yeah, it's getting hot. Whoa, that is really nice. And I think it looks like it's starting to dry out a little bit now that I'm adding more compost, so that's fantastic. Ugh, look at that fuzzy beard. Right, let's get this in here. Oh, it's so warm. Oh. Oh, I'm not kidding when I say this is heavy. Woo. Ah, feed it. Feed the HotBIN. It's so good. That is soaking though. That definitely needs a lot more cardboard, which I've got at home. There's loads in the shredder ready to go. Just about keeping it balanced. The properly green stuff is so wet, you know, loads of limes and bananas and tomatoes, which are just like, there's so much water content. So I'll mix it in a little bit of cardboard that was in that flower pot too. And hopefully this will continue to roast away. So I just shut up the HotBIN and then I was thinking, I'm sure I've got a compost thermometer somewhere that I had from ages ago. I spent ages looking for it, but I actually found it. It's one of these. So let's pop this in and see if it's actually up to a good temperature, because someone was saying that the HotBIN thermometer at the top is a little bit unreliable compared to sticking a proper thermometer in there. I don't like to open this too much. I feel like it's good to keep it closed as much as possible, just to keep the heat in. Climbing, it's climbing. Looks like it's just about stopped there. Just hitting active. Still going up a little bit. This is good. So it's not roaring, we're not up into the 60s and 70s, into the hot composting, but it is active. Fantastic. So I'll keep this to hand. This is very cool. It's good to actually be able to show you and get a bit more of a scientific handle on what's going on inside the bin, rather than me just putting my hand up to it and going, oh, it's really hot, I promise. I'm telling you, I could be saying anything, couldn't I? But we've got proof. Right, folks, I think it's time. I think it's time for the parsnip harvest. We're just a few days away from Christmas now, and this was really my goal. I wanted some of these for Christmas dinner. I pulled one of these the other day and they looked pretty good. It wasn't a competition winner. It wasn't as big as Tony's gigantic one. But considering first time growing parsnips, and I just sowed these direct straight in the ground into freshly kind of new no dig bed. Really, really pleased with these. And there's some good looking ones. I spaced them out quite far apart. Their vegetation never got that big, so I wasn't expecting good things. And the first one I pulled, really fat on top, it was only about that big. So let's get a few of these, wish me luck. Oh, look, we've actually done it. We've got some, I can't believe I've actually got some root crops. Unbelievable. They're just so similar to carrots, you know, for me in terms of what I was expecting. So I just thought I'd have absolutely nothing. Germination took a good few weeks. They weren't quick. And so I've never had high hopes. Oh, go on. Oh, go on. Oh, that one's a little bit wonky. Oh, we've got a bit of a multi-clumper here. Oh, this one feels like a big one though. Oh my goodness me. Good Lord. Oh, that shed behind me looks a bit scary. It's making some noises. Hope it doesn't fall on me. The trick is, apparently the thing that everyone says is give them a push down to try and loosen them first before you pull them up. But I think once they get to a certain size, it's just, oh, look at that. Oh my days. We've got, I can't believe, this is just like uncharacteristically successful. I don't want to take too many. Shall we leave it there? There's a few more, I don't know. How many we got left? One, two, three. Maybe I'll leave those. Oh, let me show you these properly. Look at that, the vegetation started right back. So I was a little bit worried, but that's a decent set of parsnips. And then a couple, these kind of looked like they were multi-sown, so they must have just germinated in the clump, but they're not bad either, you know, that's fine eating. They're just not as picture perfect as these. Maybe one more. Let's do one more, come on. And then I'll say that my parents can have the rest because they've been helping quite a bit with the spring bulbs and everything. They did loads earlier in the year as well. Oh, this one doesn't feel as good a size. Oh, this one's weird. It's forked. That's a bit more what I was expecting, but still a little bit more wonky, but still, that counts. That's cut that bit off, and that's okay. I've just set them aside on the mini water butt, that little thing that I'm hoping to use as a crack key system next year in the tunnel, another kind of experiment. I'm not going to do that right now because my hands will get absolutely freezing, but the plan is I'm going to do a few more bits and then burn up day. We're not allowed a bonfire till 4 o'clock, so I'm going to get that going. Then I'll wash the parsnips and I can warm my hands up on the fire. Oh, that's clever. So what do I want to do now? Well, I don't really know. I think it's just so miserable, and look at how grey it is today. It feels like it's just on the cusp of raining all the time. A little bit of drizzle in the air. So I think I might do a bit of digging in the tunnel just because it's fun, and I'm going to get a load of material moved from here so that I've got a bit of a trench ready to make a hotbed thing, which is another experiment that I'm just so excited for. I had quite a few comments asking me about the hotbed and the plan, and a lot of people saying, don't you need a metre by a metre by a metre, 1 metre cubed to do a proper hotbed? There's lots and lots of different ways of doing it. I'll put a link again for Jack First's book in the description. I don't want to just tell everyone all the information that I'm reading in the book because it's a bit borderline like plagiarism. I don't like just taking someone else's ideas that they're selling and just giving them away for free. So you'll see me doing this a little bit. But one of the bits in the book, having said that, it's okay to talk about it a little bit, is, he talks about doing it in a tunnel, and you can get away with doing it on a bit of a smaller scale because it's got that natural kind of insulation of the tunnel, And one other thing as well, one of the general principles is it is better to go deeper and have a smaller, not as wide or as long a bed, and, then you've got the depth to really generate that heat. So 1 metre by 1 metre by 1 is a way of doing it, but it's not the only way of doing it. So I'm going to get stuck in, get my podcast back on and do some digging. I love it. Just one of those days. It's good. It's good.
If I could hear my father's voice, he would tell me to move on. He would say I'll be just fine. Yeah, he would tell me we have time to laugh and time to heal. Our favorite song is on repeat. Drinking wine until the dawn.
Now that was a mission. That was hard work. That was very, very hard work. I'll flash up how long I've spent doing that. I'm not out of breath anymore because one of my mates came over and we were having a bit of a chat and a catch up, and he was going, oh, that's sexy, JB. Look at that sexy bed. There's just something about it. Now that I've taken all that material and we've turned this, it just looks like a raised bed. It's gone from that ground feeling to the raised bed feeling. It's level with the timber, and there's just something about it. We're really losing the light now, but hopefully you can see we're kind of at the level where it just looks amazing. We've just come up to the level of the base rail there, and this is so full of air. A couple of applications of water, and this is going to sink down quite a lot. I don't want it, all the way up to the top, to be honest, because this will start to rot quite quickly, and we don't want the base rail to rot either. But just so good. And over here, of course, the pit, the hotbed to be. Now, like I was saying the other day, I'm not going to fill this up and get the hotbed started just yet because it's a little bit early. This is a little bit of a small hotbed. We've got about between 30 and 40 centimetres depth here to the top of the soil at the back there, and then we're going to have a little bit more where we can really pile on top of it with the manure, and then we're going to put some compost on top of that in a frame. So there's still going to be quite a lot of material here. And as well, when it got to the bit where I was just getting out a good amount of clay and the bed was full, that has all gone into this wheelbarrow, and it's quite wet, so it was mighty heavy. That was some mighty heavy work. But I love it. I'm feeling really good. I really just love that kind of winter work. You know, when you end up in a t-shirt in the middle of winter, just, yes, absolutely love it. Now it's really dark and we're past the bonfire limit. So one thing I do want to do is get some cabbages in, but I might do that in a different video just because I want to get the fire started. I'm eager to get the fire started. So I think I'm going to do that. That's my little treat to myself. I didn't bring any beer though. I might see if Jess will bring me a beer. What do you reckon? Do you reckon the chances of that are, I can't have a bonfire without a beer. It's just, you know, they're a match made in heaven. Jess is out, isn't she? No beer. No beer for me. What a sad tale. I'll just have to enjoy the fire by myself. All I've brought up is a few little logs and a couple of little kind of waxy natural fire starters. I quite like a challenge, and I think I'm probably just going to find a little space in amongst all the trees down here to get set up. Now generally on the channel I spend a lot of time joking about my own ineptitude. Now there's one thing I should be able to do, it's start a fire. I used to do this professionally as part of my job in conservation. We would have a fire every day to basically get rid of all the material that we would generate throughout the day clearance or doing habitat restoration. So if this goes wrong, it's going to be very funny. Now you get two kinds of fire starters, if you ask me, wigwammers and towerers. Now I'm a fan of the tower. I like to build like a square structure. I think it allows more air, and if you build a teepee, then it can collapse in on itself. So it's my way of doing it. I've got some kindling here. Mike had some spare bits kicking around. Now I've not got much today. This is all I've got. I've got a couple of fire starters. So a little bit challenging. No newspaper or anything. I find the driest, smallest bits first. Start building the bridge. All of these bits of kindling are actually quite chunky. I've made a bit of an error there. And this is oriented so the wind will blow through here. God, if this doesn't work, it's going to be really funny. Most important bit is probably these two, which are like the podium. Now they don't have to be, this isn't particularly dry, this is a bit of rotten wood, and these are wet, but it's just to keep everything off the floor so that air can get in. And without those, it's going to be so much harder to get this starting. And we're going to be doing a lot of wet wood, so we really want to get some nice hot coals before we start putting any wet material on here. Wish me luck. First match fail. Okay. We've got like we've only got about 5 matches in here as well. Okay, Houston, we have a problem. Maybe I should have bought a lighter. Ah, these matches are not playing ball. Might have to go and ask someone for a lighter. Go on, go on. Oh my God. Okay, I had to turn the camera off to just concentrate. And I'm not joking when I say the last match finally just got this little fire starter going. Now, like I say, these are just little waxy things, so they're not really built for this. And we've got a lot of air coming through. Just trying to block it off a little bit. Air is good, but too much at the start before you've got the fire going. Here's a problem. There we go. This little blocker, I think, has just helped things along a little bit. One of the things I love about a fire is it starts out so small. It's a bit like a seed from plants, you know, it starts out just so small, and soon this is going to consume the whole load of trees and brash prunings that I've got. So, been a little bit touch and go, to be honest. We lost it at one point, but with a lot of blowing, we got it going. And then I put this little incinerator on top, and as I put it on, the bottom just kind of flaked away. Turns out it's not looking too good, so I'm not sure if I'm going to leave this on, to be honest. It might actually be safer to take this off, because if I start piling this up and then it falls over, that won't be very good. But we got it roaring nice now, as you can see. So I'm actually probably, let's take it off now before it gets too hot to touch, and that's probably for the best. And I'll just have to keep it a little bit smaller, go bit by bit. So I've made sure to pick a spot where there's no other polytunnels around or anything like that. But very glad that it's going now. It's only like 5 o'clock, but it's pitch black. You'll notice it's still in the fire pit because when I took the bin off, the fire immediately went out. So These bins are amazing just for channeling the air and creating, you know, the flame was up here. As soon as I took it off, the whole thing went out just because it got smothered in the structure. So I'm gonna leave it on for a bit longer just to really get the heat in the coals. I fed it a little bit more with some of the plum tree, but a lot of this is kind of dry wood and kindling, but it is gonna have to turn into a bonfire. But we're getting there, we're getting there. I just love this. This is like, I did that 10 questions with Jane recently, and I was talking about one of the main reasons that I actually started the allotment, and it was, for me, it was about being outdoors, and doing things like this is such a big part of having the allotment and this kind of outdoors activity, and fires and composting and digging stuff out and ripping stuff out. There's something about that physical side of it which I find so rewarding about allotmenting, you know. I do wish I had a beer though. Do you remember when I said at the start how funny it would be if I couldn't get the fire going? It's exactly the same thing as soon as I took the bin off. It just doesn't want to go. So I know it's got the heat in it, the coals are ready, but the wind has died down, it's gone still. So this is where the lungs come in. Times like this, I'm glad I don't smoke. Still got life in it, it's still got life. Bit of patience, bit of perseverance, we'll get this going again. Now hopefully, this time it'll work. I waited until the fire started kind of creeping towards the outside, try to encourage it. It's been going absolutely ages now. If this doesn't go, I give up. Really good fun though. I've got massive thorn in my thumb. Got it. It's going, I think it's gonna go now. Oh, this is so good. This is like just my favorite thing to do. I love it. And if you stack them with all the chopped ends one way, it makes your life so much easier. I did unfortunately forget to wash my parsnips, but I'm gonna do that now. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see it though. I'm gonna say thank you ever so much for watching. An extra special thank you to all of my chili pepper tier patrons, Tony, Bill, Pam, Louise, Mel, Michael, Denise, Socks in the Garden, and Andrew. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, and hopefully I'll see you again in the next one. Oh, look at it go. So good.